don't know who needs to know this, but there are two different kinds of people in this world. Those who are above the law and those who are below it. And then there's Michael Scofield, who is somehow both at the same time. Michael is a structural engineer and part-time magician who lives a perfectly ordinary life until his brother gets sentenced to death row for a crime he didn't commit. Now, normally, a person in this situation would be completely helpless. But Michael isn't any ordinary guy. No, because 8 years prior, he made a contingency plan just in case something like this ever happened to his brother, and that plan involved faking his own death. So while Michael may not have been able to predict exactly what crime his brother would be framed for, he did manage to predict that it would happen. So he left a trail of fake evidence, leading authorities to believe that he had died in a scuba diving accident several years ago. Only problem now is that Michael actually did die in that scuba diving accident. Or at least his old self did. The man who is currently faking being Michael is a childhood friend who agreed to help Michael fake his death all those years ago. And the only way he can assume Michael's identity is by getting Michael as brain transplanted into his body. So Michael has effectively been dead for 8 years, which makes him the perfect candidate to come back from the dead and save his brother. And that's exactly what happens. Except, he doesn't actually come back from the dead. He just assumes the body of his still living friend. But since they look identical, it's basically the same thing. And if anyone asks about the previous Michael, well, it's a good thing he's dead. No one will suspect a thing. Now, while Michael might be rich enough to pull off a brain transplant, that procedure is so experimental and illegal that no doctor is willing to perform it. So instead, Michael turns to the black market where he finds a doctor who owes him a favor after Michael saved his daughter's life several years ago. So the doctor performs the procedure, transferring Michael's brain into the body of his childhood friend, who, by the way, dies in the process, and as far as we know, there isn't any way to reverse it either. Now, since this is a TV show, there are ways to bring him back eventually. But that won't happen until the very end of the series. And even then, it's only temporary. So yeah, this is pretty much it for Michael. He's stuck in this new body, which belongs to a guy who isn't him, and if anyone finds out, he could go to prison for the rest of his life or worse. But luckily, Michael is also a master escape artist and criminal mastermind. So he manages to break his brother out of prison without any trouble, which I suppose is a happy ending, but it's definitely not the ending that Michael wanted. This is the first episode of Prison Break, which was created by Paul T. Schering and aired its first season back in 2005. Despite its over-the-top premise, it was critically acclaimed and became one of the most popular shows of all time, with over 8 million viewers per episode during its original run. It spawned 4 seasons and a handful of spin-offs, though none of them were as successful as the original. And despite its cancellation almost 10 years ago, the series still holds up today. And part of the reason for that is the characters, especially the Scofield brothers, who despite their insane plan, are actually pretty likable. Michael is a conflicted hero struggling to do what's right for his brother, while also coming to terms with the fact that he'll likely never get to rest in peace. While Lincoln is an innocent man who is wrongly convicted for a crime he didn't commit. He's also a devoted brother who would do anything to protect his little brother, even if it means putting himself in danger. And when the two team up, they make an unstoppable force that even death itself can't contain. But while the characters are great, Prison Break isn't just a character drama. No, it's also a thrilling action-packed crime drama with plenty of plot twists along the way. In fact, it feels more like a crime movie than a series, which isn't too surprising considering that Paul Schering, the show's creator, got his start writing for crime dramas such as Hill Street Blues and The Equalizer. As a result, the show keeps you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end, wondering how the heck are these guys going to get away with this. But aside from the action, Prison Break also explores some interesting themes, such as the lengths a person will go to protect their family, the moral ambiguity of the justice system, and whether or not there is such a thing as a death penalty. After all, if the person on death row is actually innocent, then wouldn't it be better to let them live and find the real criminal? Unfortunately, the show doesn't really answer these questions, but it does raise them, which is more than I can say for most action movies. All of that is to say that Prison Break is an excellent show. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. You can watch the first season for free on Hulu and the rest of the seasons on Netflix. And if you want to keep watching after that, then you can always watch the spin-off, which is currently airing its second season. But if you're not interested in that, then don't worry. The original series is great on its own. So go ahead and give it a watch. It's definitely worth your time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content. And as always, thank you for watching.
The year is 1983, and Buddy is an 18-year-old high school graduate who lives with his parents in a Los Angeles suburb. On graduation night, Buddy has a disagreement with his father over his plan to enroll in community college. His father wants him to join the family business, but Buddy refuses. During a heated argument, Buddy accidentally pushes his father back, causing him to hit his head on a ceramic vase, fatally wounding him. Terrified, Buddy flees the house and goes on the run. Meanwhile, two detectives, Jerry and Tully, are assigned to investigate the murder of Buddy's father after a neighbor calls 911 and reports hearing screams and a gunshot. At the police station, they question Buddy's mother, Linda, who claims that she and her husband were arguing with Buddy about his future. When asked whether Buddy had a gun, Linda denies it, saying, "I don't know what kind of monster you think I am." However, when the officers search the house, they find a gun under Buddy's bed. They also discover signs of a struggle, including blood and broken glass from a vase. Buddy's parents had apparently been arguing for some time before the shooting. Back at the station, Jerry believes that Buddy killed his father, while Tully thinks that he is innocent and will turn himself in soon. But Buddy has no intention of doing so. He stole money from his father's secret stash to buy a bus ticket to Mexico, where he plans to escape to. As the sun rises, Buddy reaches the Mexican border and sneaks across illegally. Now in San Diego, Buddy buys a new pair of shoes and begins working odd jobs to earn money. One day he meets a woman named Pilar, who gives him a job washing cars. She is initially suspicious of Buddy because of his age and the fact that he can't speak Spanish, but she eventually hires him anyway. One night, while working alone, Buddy sees Pilar counting money and asks her what she does. When she replies that she is a prostitute, Buddy is shocked and disgusted. One afternoon, Pilar arrives late for work and Buddy helps her remove the makeup she was wearing. He then asks her why she became a prostitute, to which she replies that she had no choice. She was raped and became pregnant, so she had to do whatever it took to survive. Meanwhile, the police are still searching for Buddy. Jerry is eager to close the case, but Tully wants to bring Buddy back for questioning. He believes that Buddy is innocent and will tell them what really happened if they can get him to talk. In Mexico, Buddy gets into a fight with another worker and runs away. Exhausted and hungry, he sits down on a nearby fire escape when he hears voices. He hides behind some pipes and looks down to see two men talking. One of them says that he heard there was a kid in town who looked like a dead ringer for Eric Bobbitt, the son of a rich man who disappeared 3 months ago. The other man mentions that the Bobbitts are offering a $1 million reward for information leading to Eric's whereabouts. Buddy overheard enough to know that he is wanted for something, but not what. At this point in the story, we learn more about what happened after Buddy killed his father. After fleeing home, he went to the local shopping mall, where he used his father's credit card to withdraw $500. He then bought a bus ticket to Mexico and crossed the border illegally. In San Diego, he got a job washing cars and rented a room from a motel owner. He never told anyone his real name and gave false information to the police when they asked him. He also became friends with a waitress named Roxy and began seeing a psychologist named Dr. Silverberg. Buddy opens up to the doctor about how he has no one to turn to and how he can't go back home. Dr. Silverberg encourages him to do the right thing and turn himself in, but Buddy refuses. He tells the doctor that he didn't kill his father on purpose and that he was trying to defend himself. Buddy reveals that his parents were always fighting and that they argued the night he killed his father, because he didn't want to go into the family business. As the story progresses, Buddy becomes increasingly paranoid and anxious. He begins having panic attacks and is unable to sleep. One night he is awoken by police banging on the door and he runs out of the motel in terror. He stays on the run for several days until he meets Pilar. She takes pity on him and gives him a job washing cars. Buddy is grateful for the work and begins to feel like he finally has a friend. But his past eventually catches up with him and the two men from the fire escape recognize him. They tell Pilar that Buddy is wanted by the police and she fires him immediately. At this point, we learn more about Buddy's relationship with his parents. Buddy had a difficult childhood. His parents were constantly fighting and they never showed him any affection. His father was a criminal and Buddy was afraid of him. He never wanted to go into the family business, but his father pressured him to do so. Buddy felt like he had no one to turn to, and he was desperate for help. Buddy returns to the motel to pack his things, but he finds that it has been robbed, and his wallet, cell phone, and other belongings are gone. He is now completely alone and has no one to turn to. Buddy is eventually captured and brought back to the United States. He is charged with murder and faces life in prison. In court, his lawyer tries to make a case for self-defense, but Buddy's confession and the physical evidence against him are too damning. He is found guilty and sentenced to 27 years in prison. Meanwhile, Jerry is promoted to lieutenant and Tully becomes chief of detectives. Before leaving office, Tully asks Jerry to look into the case again. He believes that Buddy is innocent and that someone else killed his father. Jerry agrees to look into it, but nothing comes of it. Years pass and Buddy becomes a model prisoner. He earns a bachelor's degree in accounting and becomes a trusted advisor to the other inmates. One day, Buddy is visited by a private investigator named Dave Henry. Dave tells Buddy that he was hired by Eric's parents to find their son. He believes that Buddy is Eric and that he killed his father in self-defense. Buddy denies everything, but Dave doesn't believe him. He continues to pressure Buddy, telling him that he can help him get a lighter sentence if he confesses. But Buddy refuses to cooperate. In a flashback, we see what really happened to Eric Bobbitt. 3 months earlier, Eric was being blackmailed by a man named Eddie. Back in the present, Buddy opens up to Dave about what happened the night his father died. He tells him that he didn't mean to kill him, and that he was trying to defend himself. Dave believes him and vows to help him get a lighter sentence. He goes to the police and tells them that Buddy is Eric Bobbitt. Jerry is skeptical, but he agrees to run Buddy's DNA against the Bobbitt case. It turns out that Buddy is not Eric, but he is Jerry's son. Buddy had been kidnapped as a baby, and Jerry never knew about it. He had been looking for his son all along, and he didn't even realize it. In the end, Buddy is cleared of all charges and released from prison. He is reunited with his real father and begins a new life. And Dave helps the Bobbitts find their son. Everyone is happy to have their loved ones back, but Buddy can't help but feel like he wasted 13 years of his life. He also knows that he'll never forget what happened to him. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment or a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.